Hello and welcome everybody to the OB Builders Cup Series live on Grid Vision, live from virtual Texas Motor Speedway. I'm Sheldon Atkins, joined in the booth with my good longtime friend Curtis White and as well Austin Derbyshire in the production booth. Curtis, how you doing this evening, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good, and honestly, I'm pretty excited. Probably the first time anyone's ever said anything about that regarding Texas in a long time, but I mean, this is a genuinely interesting race that we got going on here for what is essentially a new league starting up this week, or at least recently starting up, and got a lot of good names here, a lot of competitive racers here. It's going to be a fun race to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
We got a good look at Texas Motor Speedway.
Yeah, exactly. Brand new league, lots of talented drivers here in Texas. Honestly, the next gen car puts on a pretty decent show. Last night in the NIS, we saw some pretty good battling, a bit of a stinker of a finish, but all in all, a great race. And heck, even the trucks this week have been fun to cover, and a lot of good stuff in here on the deck this evening as we get ready to work ourselves into broadcaster picks. And well, I guess I get to pick first this week. I'm going to go with that 6 machine of Brandon Pasalacqua, the man behind the show itself. Who you got on there tonight, Curtis?
I'm going with Joseph Galata, the 98 car. I've been advised that he is pretty good driver in this series, and I just kind of went along with it because I don't really know many people in this series. But I like the look of Galata. He looks like he qualified pretty good, so I'm going to be keeping an eye on him.
Yeah, Galata, that's going to be somebody that's going to be ready to stir the drink at any moment. A lot of talent behind the 98 machine, and I see that our producer has gone with another Joseph Causey. Either way, let's get here to the starting grid. Starting on pole this evening is going to be, hang on. Oh my Lord, I'm having issues here. We're all falling apart. Starting on pole this evening is going to be Johan Seminario with Joseph Galata at his outside in second. Third place is going to be Peter Irons with Chris Vincent in fourth. Fifth place is going to be Brian Johnson with Tyler Hunter in sixth. Seventh place, Brandon Pasalacqua with eighth place going to Chris Crosby. Starting this thing off in ninth place is going to be Joseph Causey, and running out your top 10 is going to be Paul Hill. On to you,
Turn
Curtis.
to page 2, you got Randy Mullins in the 54, Justin Levine, the 19 car on the outside, row 6, Colby Jackson, Greg Carr in row 7, then Alexander Carr and Adam Benefiel on the next row, then Darren Mullins and Bill Petrov. And looks like I'm trying to see where the rest of the lineup here is. Randy Belkin, John Binder, and then Josh Hyatt in the 2 car, rounding out the field tonight of what looks like 21 cars starting tonight.
Yeah, 21 car field. It's a bit of a smaller field, but a new league kicking off here. And like I said, man, we both said there's a lot of talent in here. This is going to be a really good race, and it's going to be a competitive field all the way through. A lot of these guys, you know, these are a lot of your guys that are some of the best that you have in the A Open, the NIS series, and a lot of these guys are going to be very well matched for speed and talent. So it's going to be a lot of cool stuff to see tonight, and really happy that Grid Vision has the opportunity to get to call these guys on here for the show. Small child over here screaming about Paw Patrol at 9 o'clock. This is going to be a fun one, I can already tell you. We get overhead looks here of Texas Live as these guys start to bring these cars onto the grid. Any moment now, the pace car is going to kick on, turn on those lights, and these guys are going to start rolling off the pit road side by side. Get ready to start this show off. You know, I've never really been much a fan of the repave here, Curtis. You know that all too well. You've heard me gripe about it enough throughout the years. But I gotta say, have you been out there on the track this week?
I'm gonna be honest. I literally just got the track about as recent as like a half an hour ago, and I ran about 3 laps here in a truck. So pretty limited experience as opposed to a lot of other tracks that I've commentated. But it's surprising. When you're used to other mile-and-a-half tracks, you've got to keep an eye on to where the entry of turn 1 is, because it approaches so suddenly. When you're preparing for the entry of turn 1, you've already missed it. It's right there because of how much they flattened that entire banking as opposed to 3 and 4. So you got to really pay attention to your entry of turn 1. There's going to be a lot of cars that are going to be attaching themselves to that bottom lane, especially early on, so it's going to be a dogfight for real estate through those first 2 turns.
Yeah, it's definitely unique. It feels to me like, you know, you and I both spent a lot of time on NR throughout the years, and The flatter radius corner for turns 1 and 2, it feels so much like, a slightly about the same thing as like an old Kansas back in like 2003, back before they went to the variable banking. Like it has that kind of mile and a half track, the cookie cutter feel of old, which in some ways is really fun, but in other ways it's really difficult because you only have one way to get by somebody. It's so hard to make that outside line work. Now, some of these guys are going to be able to make it work because, we're in open now. You got options here with these setups. But it's so treacherous to get up on that outside because you can hit that bump and it just really shoots you up the track and you just completely miss the corner altogether.
It's definitely something to look out for. And for me, my comparison with the new configuration of Texas, I am turning into Porky Pig here. Goodness, we haven't even started yet. I kind of, I think of this track as like reverse Kentucky, where it's 1 and 2 that's flatter than 3 and 4, as opposed to Kentucky, where it's more flat in 3 and 4 than in 1 and 2.
The crazy thing is that's exactly what I said last night in NIS. Not even lying a little bit about it. Because it's exactly what they did. They did the same thing with Kentucky, but they made it, it's just a backwards version. 1 and 2 at Kentucky, and most cars here on the service, you can pretty much flat foot it. You get to 3 and 4, and it feels like you can't hit the broadside of a barn. And it's kind of the other way around here at Texas. It gives it character, it makes it unique, but it makes it so much more treacherous because there's so many different variables, and it's so easy to screw up a good lap here now. The old Texas, you'd just be flat to the floor as long as you can until the tires wear off, then you're praying that the back end will stick on you. And here, it's you don't really get that luxury at any point in the run, especially in the first 2 corners.
This track, this whole facility in itself has lived multiple different lives ever since it was opened back in like 1997, when they moved away from Wilkesboro. They first paved the track. They messed up 1 and 2. They crashed on the first lap in that inaugural race. They reconfigured it again. Same thing happened again the next year. They redid it again, and for about a while, it was like a standard quad oval track, and it was going fine. And they said, you know what, let's change it up again. And now we got this unique, and I'm saying that in a nice way, unique layout that we have now. And, based off recent rumors, who knows, that we could see like Texas version number 5, where it just becomes what Atlanta is now. But who knows at this point, because this track has had so much work done to it so many times that who knows what it's gonna be turned into.
The fix is pretty simple though. Just fix 1 and 2, make it normal. But all that out the window right now as we watch the lights turn out on the pace truck here, working their way through 3 and 4, getting ready to come to the green flag. Johan Seminario and Joseph Gulata leading this 21 car field to the start of the race, working into the Geico restart zone, flag in hand. And the flag is down, the green flag is out. Good launch on the outside already for Joseph Gulata. A little bit of a check up there in the bottom left field by Seminario. So I said,
with an issue, it
just
looked
about
like he might have
sideways.
missed the shift there. They're going to be 3 wide. Stuck on the outside is Gulata.
And Chris Vincent going to be the opportunist here and make up a spot or 2 here on the initial start. But Irons moving himself up into the 2nd place with all the issues happening on the outside line. But this is exactly what Johan wanted to see. We know that 56 machine's probably pretty fast. It's an easy bet to make here. Get out there, get clean air, and just start to run away from these guys as they all try to figure it out behind you. See a little bit of battling happening with the 4 machine of Johnson going toe-to-toe with Hunter down into 1 and 2.
Very curious to see just how effective running the middle through 1 and 2 can hold off, because you're able to pinch the guy on the inside a pretty decent amount, because he is using pretty much all of the track to build momentum out of the turns, as we see Causey in the 88 car making a pass on the 9. Nearly shoves him up the hill as he makes that pass out of 4. He's up into like 8th place here this time by.
And Causey, that's somebody you're going to want to keep your eye on this race. It's going to be somebody that's going to be moving, making big moves here at Texas Motor Speedway this evening. Really efficient at cutting himself through traffic pretty rapidly. Sometimes the tires get back to him on it, but always want to keep an eye out. But here comes Paul Hill diving down to the inside now, trying to get the 7th position away. Sorry, the 8th position away from Causey, and he's going to get it with ease. Causey going to roll back a little bit. Let him go out there, try to burn up his stuff.
Right now, this first about 10 laps or so is a testing ground for these drivers to kind of get a feel for how their cars handle. I mean, they get decent gauge of it in practice, but you don't really get the full feel until you're in about a pack of 10 cars or so when you feel all the air uh, disturbing the cars throughout the entire lap. So everyone's going to be
Oh,
experiencing that these first 10 laps. They're going to get a real gauge as to how their cars are going to drive and how hard some guys are going to push, how much some guys are going to save, and we're going to see who's going to have the better car once the long run kicks in.
I'll tell you what, I got my bets on that six machine to pass the lock, but I've seen him pull off some crazy stuff here in the long run, especially earlier in the season, other leagues that I covered that he was in. Look, right now it's all calm on the home front up here at the front of the pack. Johan Seminario leading a 5-car train around Texas Motor Speedway. Not a whole lot of battling happening right now. These guys know that they've got a long run ahead of them, trying to keep these tires safe and squared off. Nobody wanting to get out here and make a mistake here to be the first caution of a brand new league.
You don't want to have your name in the record books for that. Unfortunately, someone's going to get that claim because we're not going to be able to live in a perfect world, unfortunately, but we can try the best we can here. So far, everyone's finding their P's and Q's. We've got a side-by-side battle here. Out of 4.
There's Benefield right there on the outside of Carr, the 18 machine. Looks like Carr is going to be the one trying to take it, though, as he runs that Petty Blue Tribute machine. Right down there, tucked up on that white stripe through 1 and 2. It's really good rotation out of the 18 machine. A little too much, actually. You see him get a bobble down the back straightaway coming out of turn 2. Running right in line behind one of his teammates here. We got the Tic Tac Terrace out here on deck this evening. Colby Jackson back in familiar colors here with the Tic Tac Fresh Mint machine. I mean, another one you want. It's another one we want to keep a good eye on, but our producer saying orange is the best, and honestly, I do have to agree with him on that one. Also, a new race leader, Chris Vinson. We missed that watching what was going on through the back of the pack, but the 33 machine now out here in front as we get a replay of the pass for the lead. So Vinson get up out of 4, gets one heck of a run out of 4, pulls him right up to the back bumper of Johan, dives down a little bit late through the quad oval, and licks the stamp, sends it through 1 and 2, and takes the first spot as easy as that. Benson was another one that showed a lot of good speed last night in NIS, if I remember correctly. Team Watson car is looking pretty good this season.
Got a battle of the tool brands between Causey and Levine.
Yep, one sim teammates there. As you see, Justin Levine diving that Mac Tools number 19 machine down to the bottom through 3 and 4, taking the spot away from Joseph Causey. I'm not going to say too much about Justin, because anytime I mention him, it falls apart as soon as I mention him. So we're going to move on back up here to the front with Johan right now falling under fire from Peter Irons.
The Galata's all over the bumper of Irons. We saw him start on the front row. Whatever happened on the start, either a missed shift or he spun the tires and nearly fell out of the top 10, but he was able to rebound as much as he could in the opening start. He's still hanging in there in the top 5.
Yeah, Galata, man, that's one of the most interesting paint schemes I think I've covered. All the time I've been broadcasting here, I mean, last, year and some change. Painted by Johan Seminario, by the way. Johan, honestly, hammers out some crazy graphics on everything he touches on here.
Got a pass on Irons.
Yep, here he goes. Get him. Right there you see Johan Seminario's logo right there on the right rear spoiler. JSD, Johan Seminario Designs. Such a cool looking hot rod there. You can see Pasalacqua right there, though, right off the rear bumper. Pasalacqua kind of delivering what he promised in the pre-race, said that he had a good long-run car. It's just a matter of getting the long runs, and here we are 13 laps in it, and he's starting to melt his way through this pack, work himself to the top.
A little bit of a wiggle out of Hill's car, the 26, as Irons was trying to get back in line after losing about a couple of spots that time. That's just the effect of the wake that these cars generate in the middle of the pack, and you get the bumper across the other, and it's just gonna get the car handling in a way that it doesn't want to handle.
Yeah, the dirty air is so difficult here, especially with the flat radius, the flat banked corner of 1 and 2. It just makes it so tricky when you're following somebody. You absolutely have to send yourself any which way you possibly can to get a little bit of clean air to the nose, but you only have such a finite amount of real estate here, though, too, because only so much of this track could really be used. It's the widest corner, I think, on the NASCAR circuit right now, but it has the narrowest groove out of any of them. Look through the field here. Joseph Causey now diving down to the inside of the Ford machine. Causey with a pretty easy pass there as you work through the quad oval into turn 1. Looks like Causey left his paint scheme on from his Tuesday night league there. The bright yellow numbers on the roof. You look at Chris Vincent now, still in control of the field. Johan Seminario leading Patrick Gulata and Brandon Joseph Gulata and Brandon Pasalacqua. Vincent doing pretty good up here at the front.
Right now, I'm just kind of curious to see how the tires are going to fall off. The amount of laps that they're going to generate. We got a pass for second. Good move by
we're about
Gulata.
We're about to have a pass for the lead, too, because you see Vincent get way up the track, up the hill through 1 and 2, gets loose out of 2. And now here comes Gulata diving down to the inside, leading Johan Seminario and Pasalacqua with him. And here comes Johan Seminario creeping his way up the hill, trying to find a little bit of momentum to get around Joseph Gulata for the lead. Gonna try to cross him over here on the back straightaway. Gonna tuck back in line, though. Not enough momentum to get anything to materialize here just yet. And you see Vincent falling into the clutches of the pack here as now the third place machine of Brandon Pasalacqua is going to work his way by. Gulata's still in charge, though, working into 1, but here comes Johan Seminario creeping up the hill a little bit, trying to find that extra little bit of ground, a little bit of clean air to the nose to try and launch a charge down this back straightaway. Still nothing yet, though, but here comes Pasalacqua with a late dive down into 3.
Very late. He was trying to something different, trying to get some air on the nose, like you said. Not going to be able to get anything done if you're running the exact line that the cars in front of him are running, so you got to try something different, and that's what he was trying to do that time, and it's like...
He's setting up to try and make a pass on Johan here. Johan trying for a little bit more of an arc in the corner. And Brandon just keeping it dime down there just about on the apron. But here we are side by side out of turn 2. We see which line prevails now. Coming into turn 3, Pasalacqua to the quarter panel. Now to the door of Johan Seminario. And Johan Seminario going to duck back in line. Pasalacqua up to the second place position. Now trying to make moves on the 98 machine of Joseph Gulata through 1 and 2. That 6 car, man, he's got a bad fast hot rod right now. Sending it deep into 3 now, closing the gap ever so slightly. Just a foot here and there, and it all adds up pretty quick here at Texas. 22 laps on the board into 1. Gulata still in charge. Brandon Pasalacqua right there, though, off the back bumper.
Yeah, I'm looking at Chris Vincent, the 33 cars dropped anchor. He has dropped all the way back to 10th place, so those early laps up at the front might have been a little overkill for that setup at the moment, because he has slid way back in the running order right now, so he's just kind of backed off a little bit. He's in danger of falling out of the top 10 to 50 cars. Inside through the quad oval into turn 1, he's going to probably make the pass here, and he very likely will, so that's going to be another spot loss for the 33. And now we got another pass for the lead.
Here we go. Pasalacqua using the outside line through 1 and 2, going to be side by side, now taking the position away from Joseph Gulata coming into turn 3. Quick and efficient pass
shoots up
the
that hill as he got across his nose. car got really tight on entry, and Galata had to get out of the throttle. That
Oh,
pretty
yeah,
much secures the lead for now for Pasalakwa in the 6th. So good pass there for that
once you get
spot.
past for the lead, it takes you, a little bit to kind of refine your marks here in this next gen car. It's pretty treacherous once you get that dirty air thrown over you, especially once you've gone up to the front of the pack and, kind of burn those tires off, carving through the field. He's struggling to get the bottom in 3 and 4. And that is not a happy place to be here at Texas. Here comes Johan Seminario now falling into the clutches of the 19 car of Justin Levine. Justin, another one's been really strong this week in A Open, NIS. Bit of a bad luck run last night in NIS, but hoping to capitalize, look to turn the ship around here.
He's off to a good start. He's started 12th on the grid. He's up to 4th, so he's one of the fastest movers on the grid so far. Doesn't need to be in much of a hurry, but it seems like he's moved up a ton of ground already.
Oh yeah, to pick up 8 spots this early into a race in a field as stacked as this one is something to hang your hat on and be proud of. Of course, I don't know, Levine, he ain't gonna be happy unless he parks that thing in victory lane tonight.
Again, back to a point I was trying to make earlier about the tires and long run pace. We'll see just how important that's going to play into effect. And I was wondering, with this kind of being a one groove track, will track position really matter as much? Like, can he be able to hold on to that spot if he finds himself falling backwards? But it seems like we got a lot of passing going on, even for this track. There's been a lot of action this early on. So nobody's really content just staying in line.
With the current state of the tire, you get a lot of comers and goers. If people aren't careful, it's what we want to see on Sundays, but it's just we haven't gotten there just yet. But here on iRacing, tires a little bit different, data's a little different. It kind of opens the opportunity for a lot of different guys to really set themselves up for long run pace and everything. The dirty air, it's a huge problem on here, but it's nowhere near as huge as what we see on Sundays.
Meanwhile, the lead has switched hands once again. Bit of a slow exit for Pasalakwa. And Galata, just hard on the loud pedal, was able to make the pass right even before he even got to the turn. So another good, clean pass for the 98.
The way the passes look here tonight with these guys, it kind of reminds me of watching the Indy 500.
Yeah.
You get that vibe a little bit? Like you just watch, especially in 1 and 2, like you just see the guy line it up, get it down there, and second place just cracks out of it, and boom, quick, easy passes. It's like a lot of give and take out here in the field this evening, which is a beautiful thing to see.
Sure is.
Pasalakwa kind of running into a little bit of trouble, though. Now he's backed up to the front bumper of Johan Seminario, the car that he flew by earlier, about blew the doors off. It looks like Johan's got a little bit more in the tank here for the long runs, but Johan also kind of running into a little bit of trouble because Justin Levine is shadowing him around here. You see Johan line up for a pass here in 3 and 4, down to the bottom on the 6th machine of Pasalakwa. Pasalakwa can roll out of it to let both of these machines go by and try to tuck in here into the 5th or the 4th spot before Paul Hill gets some.
Right now, the top 5 seems to have a bit of a breakaway because we've got a big gap between Paul Hill and Joseph Causey right now. That's about a 1.5 seconds and counting. This train has left the station, pretty much.
And also got to give a little tip of the hat, too, to Paul Hill. Kind of has had a lot of bad luck all the times that I've had the opportunity to cover him. But it looks like he's bringing a lot of speed here to Texas. Sitting there in that 5th place position early on in this race, broken off of the mid-pack guys. It's a pretty good place to be, especially with some of the heavy hitters we have further in the field.
Another inside pass. Justin Levine getting around Johan Seminario for the 2nd spot. There'll be another position ticked off for the 19 Mac Tools Toyota of Levine. Again, continues to charge forward through the pack and right now showing no signs of slowing down. Setting his sights on the 98 of Galata right now.
And Galata still, though, with a decent advantage. 0.6 of a second over second place Justin Levine. Just, keep it. Just run good laps. Keep it straight. Don't make any mistakes. It's the only thing you have to do right now. Up to 0.7, working through 2. So Gulata definitely has a fast machine this evening.
And very good. And probably for the first time tonight, we actually got a big gap between first and second. Not quite up to a second yet, because much of this race has been back and forth for the lead. But right now, it's up to over half a second, which is probably the largest we've seen so far. We're gonna see if Levine can eat that gap away and get it back to where we were earlier, where it's, just tenths between first and second. Another, like Pasalacqua was searching around Johan Seminario for third, and bit of a defensive drive from 6.
Yeah, it looks like the 6 machine's coming back, though. Starting to make moves on the 56, Johan Seminario.
In the 11,
Sorry,
I can't
the
tell.
11. The 11, I am so used to the 56 being on the side of that car. This feels sacrilegious.
So tell me, and Levine in the 1, he's in the 19 in this car tonight, so a couple of numbers switched around for guys that are usually in some of the other leagues we cover here on Grid Vision. Even some of the races they run on open, so it's going to be a bit of a mix-up here in the booth for us, so
it's not
bear
even
with us
that
here.
for me. I'm just used to seeing these guys with these numbers and everything. But here comes Pasalacqua down to 6. There's Brandon diving back down, though, into 1 and 2. But it looks like Johan's going to try and fight it this time. Oh, and Pasalacqua misses the corner a little bit, clips the apron, and slides up the track. It's really going to hurt the momentum down the back straightaway. It's going to give it back into the hands of Johan Seminario for the time being as he works himself into turn 3. And then there's Causey. Working our way through, though. You see a lot of separation here between these guys, a little bit further back in the pack. Too much crazy going on as we're working lap 37 here at Texas Motor Speedway. One car diving down pit road further in the back. Can't quite get the door number on it from here, though.
64. He locked up the brakes pretty bad, so it's going to be cutting it really close if he was able to make it down pit road without speeding.
64 machine of Darren Mullins. That looks like a bit of an unscheduled stop there, so I don't know what's going on there with him, but everything's all right. As we see another battle shaking up, though. Pasalacqua working the outside line now, trying to get by Johan, and a huge surge of momentum through the center of 1 and 2. And that's going to get him clear here on the back straightaway. Get a good view of the old 6 Paradigm machine.
Nice looking
Sponsored
car,
by...
I dig that.
Yep.
Anything with black and red is an automatic good looking car for me, most times.
Yeah, black, day
black
glow.
and red, usually.
Black and red, like day glow yellow or something like that, always does it for me personally. Jerry Nader's old car back in the early 2000s. I think that was one of my favorite diecasts that I ever owned, honestly. No, Pasalacqua out there carrying the OB Builders stickers, the sponsor here of the OB Builders Cup Series. And, we got a lot of talent in this field tonight, but, if you're looking for a new talent to kind of keep your eyes on, they got there's this kid named Tate Crosby. He's a 6-year-old racing outlaw wing karts at Millbridge Speedway. And 1 year racing under his belt, a handful of B main and heat race wins. But if you're trying to, follow a young talent as he works his way into potential superstardom, be sure to visit TateCrosbyRacing.com. And also a big thank you to Tate Crosby for sponsoring us here tonight and giving us the opportunity to get the OB Builders Cup up and running here. Every sponsor is a huge, huge help in the world of motorsports, even all the way down here to the sim racing level. But here we are, 42 laps on the board. Joseph Gulata still with the lead, but Justin Levine carving into it, down to 0.3 of a second now. Justin kind of doing what I was expecting here, just riding it nice and slow, working himself up into a good position here with these tires, and it's kind of what we see out of him week in and week out. Pasalacqua doing the same thing.
Pasalacqua brushed the wall out of 4.
looking at Tyler Hunter. A little bit of an issue out of that machine. Oh, a little bit of help,
Ooh.
actually. Looked like he got a little crossed up coming out of 4, and the 4 machine behind him just gave him the final kick. Sent him back down there through the grass. Good job keeping the machine under him, though. So difficult when you transition off of the asphalt onto the grass, especially here at Texas. I mean, we were watching cars fly through there last night, about 6 feet in the air, it felt like. Right now, the 50 machine is Schaffner, a little bit further back in the pack, but back up, eyes on the front of the pack. Joseph Gulata still working a 0.3 of a second lead over Justin Levine in second. Vasilakwa's now tapered down 0.8 of a second off of your race leaders at the moment. But Levine's hunting. He's got the old skeleton gloves on in there today.
Target locked and loaded. Now it's down to going to be less than 0.2 with the pace he's putting down at the moment. Oh, it's more than just the gloves.
Yeah. Oh man, that's spooky. My nightmares about
Maybe
that.
he's hoping Gulata will see that in his mirror.
Oh, winning huge run. Huge run through 3 and 4 there. Justin Levine closing it from 0.3 of a second down to 1/10. Gulata, not a good entry. I think he got hung up on that bump in the center of 3. But here comes Levine, and he's going to strike while the iron's hot as you see him send it deep into turn 1.
You see him hugging that white line with those left side tires. He is clinching onto that like a cat on Velcro.
And Gulata is just so sideways coming out of turn 2, struggling with the right rear on the tire fall off on the 98 machine. Here comes the 19 of Levine now, though, painting it down on the white line through 3 and 4. It's going to be a huge head of steam for him coming out of turn 4 to the front straightaway. Gulata fighting back, though, hanging on as tough as he can, working that outside line, trying to keep that machine wound up, keep the RPMs up. Works for him this time. Into 1 and 2, though. Is he going to get crossed up again? Yeah, you see a little bit of a slide starting to shake up. There it is. Just about losing it out of turn 2. And here comes Levine again, charging down to the bottom into 3.
Just that one slip up is all Levine needed to make that pass, or at least stick his nose down there to at least let him know he's there. Right now, Levine's car is looking way more controlled right now. In 1 and 2, Gulata's car just a little bit shaky, kind of lighten up the tires a little bit. We'll see if he does it again this time by. Right now, it's a little better. Able to build that gap back up just inch by inch, but that last time by, that was almost putting him in the danger zone as Levine almost made that pass work. And right now, he's have to regroup here. That nose down there. Ooh, he gets really close to the wall. Past Vasilakwa in the background. Watching this battle unfold as he's looking to get himself involved.
I think right now Vasilakwa was a part of the wall is a part of the racing line for that 6 machine right now.
Ooh.
You know, here comes Gulata trying with a switchback, though, trying to get to the bottom out of 2, but doesn't work. Can't get the tires to connect. Just about loses it off of 2. Going to fall back in line behind Justin Levine. And Justin Levine, 50 laps into this event, is now your race leader. And that's going to be a hard one to take it from.
"50 laps into the books, and the top 3 are all separated by less than half a second. So even now, we still don't have a clear-cut favorite, even though Levine's probably done the most work to get up there. We'll see if, again, I mentioned the tires. We'll see how they hold up. But right now, again, a lot of good cars in this field, especially up in the top 3. And it's very close up at the front as we look through the rest of the field, see how everyone else is doing.
Looking at I think it was Mullins right there in the 54 machine, a little bit further in the back. Not as good a day so far for the rest of the Paradigm guys, but Vasilakwa making do pretty well up here in the 3rd place spot. As you see, a little bit of contact with the outside wall for Gulata, still fighting with the handle on that 98 machine. But with 51 laps on the board here coming to 52, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with more coverage of the OB Builders Cup live from Texas on the grid. And as promised, just a quick commercial break. The OB Builders Cup is back live here at Texas. A bit of a shakeup, though. Second place now falling into the hands of Brandon Pasalakwa. Joseph Gulata just really struggling with the rear end bite on that 98 machine right now. As he actually dives it down pit road. One of the first year leaders to come down pit road. 26 machine following him down as well.
We got a
Right
couple
now.
of tickers early in the going. Wonder if that'll force anyone else's hand.
Also, the battle for third starting to heat up as you see Joseph Causey now diving down to the inside of his one sim teammate. And he's got him. Johan Seminario going to fall back to fourth place right now. Joseph Causey picking up third, but right now up at the front of the pack, it is Justin Levine and Brandon Pasalakwa trying to figure out who's going to make it home first. As Levine starting to lose a little bit of that gap to the sixth machine, and huge lockup for Schaffner on pit road, but we got a caution on the Speedway. Oh no, car.
Spinner out of 4. The 18's around.
Yeah, it's not only is that a car, that is Alexander Carr. Hard hit to what looks like the outside wall for him. Oh no, the 9 machine. Yeah, we saw the same thing last night. The 9 just kind of a bit of a lockup. No, huge contact from Mullins in the 54. And that right there is going to be a day under. Right on board with Mullins here. It's unsuspecting victim. Kind of brings back memories to Mark Martin and J.J. Elliott, Charlotte, about 20 years ago. There's nothing you can do in a situation like that if you're Mullins. You just go into the corner, next thing you know, they're all jacked up in front of you, and there's no time to even think about where you're going to commit the car with as treacherous as the tri-oval is here at Texas.
Yeah, it looks so sudden. I'm trying to look back and see if the 9 ever actually called out his pit, because sometimes that happens when the car in front never signals.
Yeah.
And the car behind just doesn't know, but I'm going off radio, and it looks like he did signal off the radio, so I guess the 18 just didn't know where to go at that point. Maybe he slowed down much quicker than he was anticipating. That might have thrown him off.
New league too, right? Could have been, the following car there could have very well been, car could have very well been in his black box, figuring out what adjustments he was going to make for pit road and stuff like that. And it just kind of catches you by surprise sometimes. You get into the rhythm here in these races, and the house could be on fire around you and you wouldn't even notice it. It's a rough break, but Justin Levine leading these guys off the pit road. Brandon Pasalakwa going to come out P2, followed by Joseph Causey, Johan Seminario, and Peter Irons are your top 5. Pretty tame first half here. Or, well, first 60 laps anyway.
I'm trying to see, did Golota ever get lapped? Because he pitted before the yellow came out.
That is a good question. There's only one way to tell, and that's to look through the field here a little bit, and it doesn't look like Golota lost a lap. Hang on. Yeah, no, it is showing Joseph Golota in 16th place on the lead lap. So lucky break for him, because that could have been a lot worse with that caution coming out where it did. That could have been a race ender for him.
Yeah, and this seems like the kind of league where you can't afford those kind of setbacks because of how stiff and stacked the competition is, and everyone here knows that as well as everybody else. I'm running out of words to say, but yeah, if I'm Golota, I'd be pretty irate if I got screwed over by the timing of that caution. But it seems like he still gets to live on, as we still got plenty of laps left on the clock. So keep an eye on that 98.
With the strength of field that we have here and the talent, and I mean, honestly, the achievements of every driver that's in this field tonight. This is what you and I refer to whenever we run a C-Fix or something like that, and we just get irritated because we realize we're in an esports lobby, as we say. This is it's not an easy field to, find something to set you to be different than the rest of these guys, because all these guys are on the absolute limit. Every second of every lap.
Joseph Causey is going to restart on the outside of the front row. He's going to have Seminario right behind him, so Causey up a couple of spots for this restart. We'll keep an eye on the 88 DeWalt Toyota.
And here we are, working into the Geico restart zone. One Sim teammates lead him to the green. The flag is in the air. Levine is to the gas. And a good launch for the 19 Mac Tools machine.
A great launch.
Right now, Pasalacqua trying to take over second place away from Joseph Causey in the 88 up on the top line. Causey trying to fight back, though, use that outside line momentum. And it's going to work for him here as he gets a huge shot down the back straightaway. It's going to pull him ahead a little bit, but Pasalacqua fighting back. Pasalacqua going to work the low line. Joseph Causey going to taper in, though, and take the spot away. Joseph Causey now officially back up to the second place position after he almost lost it on the restart. And everybody else is going to single file out for a little bit here. A little bit of a battle shaking up a little bit further back. A few cars run nearly 3 wide there for a second. You see the 48 machine send it up top around the 25 through 3 and 4. That's Tyler Hunter on your outside with Greg Carr working the bottom.
Bit of a low line by Pasalacqua trying to run a little defensive. Oh, there's contact between the 22.
Oh, the 48 machine around off the nose of the 25 of Greg Carr. And up into the wall goes Hunter with heavy contact, and that's most likely going to be a toe link. Yeah,
With the
looks like he's
way he
crabbing
hit
here.
that wall.
Leslie, must be a meteorologist or something, because called that one in the chat right before it having. So the 22 machine gets into the back of the Tic Tac terrace and up into the quarter pound. Just trying to avoid the wreck, I think. Greg Carr gets into the side of the 48 machine, and that basically ruined Hunter's day. Not too sure about how the wheel position is sitting on the 48, but I can't imagine it's looking too good right now. Focus on the wrong car there, literally and figuratively. There's a little bit of contact. I don't know. I think he was just trying to avoid the contact. Thought he probably had a little bit more room to work with there. Maybe a little bit of tunnel vision. Just gets him to the side of him, and under the fence goes Hunter with heavy contact.
And sometimes you'll get that. You'll have a stack up in the middle of the pack and the car behind it will possibly overreact, or maybe they'll have nowhere to go, and it looked like there was still going to be a bit of room, but I think he just wasn't ready for that stack, because it almost looked like those two were going to wreck. They were that sideways when they hit. It looked like it was going to be the right move to wash up, but unfortunately for him, he had Hunter on the outside, and unfortunately for Hunter, he got the worst of it, sliding up into the outside wall. And when we talk about just the mile of pavement between the line and the wall at Texas in 1 and 2, but unfortunately for him, it's not really enough, as he finds the wall pretty quickly and pretty early in this race.
I will say, though, luckily for Tyler Hunter, I've looked at his onboard right before he went down pit road to repair damage. And the wheel looks like it's pretty straight, so honestly, I don't think the 48's going to have too much issue as long as he can get down pit road and pull the fenders and get that car, you know, put back into proper condition. I mean, it's, you know, it's never going to be new again, but, you know, hey, it'll buff, hopefully. And he is taking the U.S. Army machine out of pit road, trying to get himself caught back up to the pack here. Going to see if he's going to take repairs again or not. Looks like he's opting to stay out here on the speedway.
He thinks he got a good feel for it. Thinks it feels fine.
Yeah. Yeah, he wiggled the wheel a couple times there after the wreck too to see if it was broke or anything, and it looked like he was all right. So the way this field lining up side by side now, lights out. on the iRacing pace truck. Everybody's saving fuel too. Every engine in the field is turned off at the moment.
That's interesting.
Oh yeah, just trying to get, as many laps on this tank of Sunoco race fuel as you possibly can.
So how many laps are these cars getting on a tank here? And do these guys run like in some other leagues, they run like a smaller, like more limited amount of fuel, or are they running just the full amount? And
So
if so, how many laps?
here tonight, these guys are running the full tank because we got to race longer here than NIS. Projected anywhere between 60 to 65 based on the data that I received last night. So these tanks can last pretty far. Further than what we were used to with the old car, because they went from an 18.7 fuel cell capacity to, I believe, 20 gallons. Somewhere around there. Either way, green flag's back in the air. Justin Levine, quickest to the launch again. Joseph Causey, a little bit better of a restart this time, though. Not going to have to worry about fighting with anybody going in 1 and 2. Just going to taper back down in behind Levine. And Johan Seminario, now the odd man out, trying to work the outside line around the 6th machine of Brandon Pasalacqua. And good head of steam. Going to tuck back up into the draft. Here's going to help him out, but 3 wide, a little bit further in the back of the pack. Joseph Gulata trying to dive down to the inside of the 23 machine. Sorry, the 22 machine. But here comes Pasalacqua now, making a move down to the bottom on Joseph Causey here into the tri-oval. Good run through 3 and 4, sets him up into 1 and 2, and taking it away in 1 and 2 with a deep dive. And Joseph Causey going to try to crack out of it and get back in line, but here comes Johan Seminario working the bottom. This is the battle for 3rd. And Seminario not able to find the momentum he needs. Going to tuck back in line behind the DeWalt Tools machine of Joseph Causey as Pasalacqua starts to take it to Justin Levine.
There's a time to get him. It's now. Oh, we got a yellow on track.
Ruh-roh. Oh, the Tic Tac terrorist. Colby Jackson around. Happened here. Crowding the one machine just a little bit. One machine slides up the track, gets into him ever so slightly. There's a long slide for Colby Jackson here down the front straightaway.
Great heads up driving by everyone else at the back of the grid to spot that and able to take evasive action as needed. The Wood Brothers car got very close to getting involved in that. If he got any sort of contact from that, it was pretty close, but it's probably the only one. Everyone else did a pretty good job avoiding it.
He got a little bit, but so long as he didn't hit him directly on the tire, he should be good to go. Maybe just a slight bit of left rear quarter-pound damage, but I think the 21 Motorcraft machine is going to be good to go here for the rest of this event. Either way, as we're working caution number 3 here, we're going to send it to a quick commercial, and then we'll come back with more of the OB Builders Cup racing action here on the grid.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And welcome back to the OB Builders Cup live from Texas Motor Speedway here on Grid Vision. Justin Levine, Brandon Pasalacqua, the two up here at the point at the moment as we work ourselves into 3 and 4 to take the green for the 4th time this evening. A little bit of a switch up there. A couple guys came down pit road, a couple stayed, some took tires, some didn't. A bit of a mixed bag up here at the point. Joseph Kazi, a little bit further in the back of the pack. One of the first ones on 4 freshies. Interesting to see how this all works out as we work ourselves into the Geico restart zone here. Flag is in the air. Green flag is out. We are back underway. Justin Levine getting a huge start and a push from his teammate Johan Seminario here through the quad oval. And that's going to give the advantage to Justin Levine and Johan Seminario as Brandon Pasalacqua has to cycle back into 3rd place. Everybody single file up here at the front for the time being as the battle shakes up a little bit further back with Randy Belk working the inside line, trying to hold off Chris Vincent, but Vincent with a huge head of steam. And oh, there's the 48 machine. We just saw him backwards into the fence. He's back up here into the hunt. He's in 6th place. Good recovery for the 48 of Tyler Hunter.
And a good surge of momentum out of turn 4. Not much he can really do with it. He's got the 33 car right in front of him. The 98's in his mirror. Oh, look at this big run here. That U.S. Army car trying to get to the outside of the 33. Oh, it looks like 4th place. No, that's not slowing him down. He's got it nose ahead. He is on a drive here. Look at this 48 car. To get
Tyler
3rd,
Hunter.
maybe more.
I'm wondering, man, if when he hit the wall, if he broke something, if he didn't fix something in the process of it.
Oh,
because that 48 is on rails right now.
Oh, he fixed it, all right.
Hold on. As I alluded to earlier this week, little shades of Greg Biffle. Don't like how the cars run. I'm gonna knock the fence and flatten out the sides a little bit. Look at this. Tyler Hunter now up to 2nd place, taking a challenge now to the back bumper of Justin Levine, your race leader. What an impressive run for him. Here he comes with a deep dive down to the bottom on the front straightaway here. Hunter, Levine. Hunter going to take the point and lead the lap into 1 now. Tyler Hunter from tank slapper to race leader in a handful of laps. 48 machine going strong here as Johan Seminario now diving underneath Justin Levine, trying to take away the 2nd spot from him. Not going to be able to get it done. He's under fire now from Joseph Gulata as Gulata sends it deep into 3 up on the outside line. And he's going to try and get by Justin Levine here out of 4, and I think he's going to have it. And he's got it here at the line. And this right here, this is where we're seeing that mixed bag of strategy right now. This guy's up front on a little bit fresher Goodyear. Really making these things stick right now.
Might as well get them while you can. That's what they're doing.
Now the battle for the race lead. Joseph Gulata diving down to the inside of the hard-charging Tyler Hunter. Hunter going to try to work that outside line to find a little bit of extra momentum. Going for a bit of a wider arc through 1 and 2. Trying to get as much launch down the back straightaway as he can get. Good run that time. It's going to help keep him up here, propelled to the lead for the time being. But Gulata, I mean, I feel like that 98 machine is inevitable. We saw how fast he was earlier.
A little bit of smoke out of for someone up there. Got a Texas tank slapper.
It's easy to come by with this new layout. There's so much more. You got so much more throttle in here than we used to have back in the day with the old worn out Texas that we all knew and loved so well. See Schaffner. And that Paradigm machine working the bottom now on the 22 of Randy Belk. Belk up against the fence, clips the wall a little bit through the front straightaway, going to open the door, let the 50 machine of Schaffner go with that. Right behind these guys, you got Peter Irons. Working pretty well on that number 1 Chevrolet. Watching Vincent now, side by side with Schaffner through 3 and 4. Vincent falling back pretty hard here. Looks like he's been having a little bit of an issue with the handle on that Team Watson racing machine tonight. That's Basilacqua also falling into the clutches of his teammate Josh Schaffner down there on the low line.
Looks like he's in a little bit more danger, because here comes the Iron Man. Peter Irons in the 1 car also looking to make a pass.
Also, just a little bit ahead, Paul Hill starting to try to make some moves on Johan Seminario right now.
He's got this conveyor belt all lined up on the bottom of that 6 car, getting hung out to dry. He just trying to find a place in line. He was able to finally do it, entering turn 1. Slides all the way back to P9.
And here comes the 26 of Hill down to the bottom of Johan Seminario on the back straightaway. Not able to get it to connect, though. Yeah, he's getting passed by Schaffner right now. Schaffner up around the top line. That 50 machine is booking right now. Right through the front straightaway into 1 and 2. Schaffner working the outside line, trying to get some kind of leeway over the 11 machine of Seminario. Seminario, a little bit of a bobble out of 2 that's going to give it to the 50 machine down the back straightaway. And now he's going to set his sights on Justin Levine in the 19. Schaffner, huge run out of 4, diving down to the inside line now with the Mac Tools Toyota. And in 1, clean pass now to the back bumper of Joseph Gulata. This is a good run for Schaffner here. Really turn up the wick here as we get into the later stages here at Texas Motor Speedway.
Really caught that car dialed up. Right now, the top 2 seem to have backed their pace off a little bit, or maybe the 50 has just ran them both down. Bean wasn't really putting in too much of a fight with Schaffner in the 50.
Battle for the lead happening right now. Joseph Gulata working his way around the 48 machine of Tyler Hunter. Hunter missed the corner a little bit coming into 1. Opened the door.
That's going to move Schaffner to 2nd.
Yeah, give the position to Gulata, but how long is Gulata going to be able to hold it as Schaffner is about beating the back bumper off? And yeah, there he is, actually beating the back bumper off of that 98 machine.
With the run he had, I'm surprised he didn't try to go middle and try to get him out of 4. That goes to the bumper of the net. He's going to get him outside this time by into turn 1.
Deep dive, pulling it tight, trying to get a little bit of a side draft with the 98 machine, but not able to get it to stick here. I think he got the bump just wrong through the middle of 1 and 2. Going to give the position back to Gulata for the time being, but coming into 3, here comes Schaffner again, trying to put up that momentum, but Levine is back in the picture. Diving low out of turn 4, side-by-side battle for the lead here at the start-finish line. Schaffner to the inside of Gulata, not able to get that lap. Gulata's going to lead lap 87, but who's going to lead lap 88 as we work into 1 and 2? And a huge slide up the hill is going to be really costly for Joseph Gulata as Josh Schaffner keeps it pinned down there on that white line, and he's going to take the position into turn number 3. Josh Schaffner, your new race leader here at Texas. And what an impressive drive through the pack we've seen out of that 50 machine here these last handful of laps. Strategy window opened up, first half of this race kind of running around mid-pack, just outside of the top 10. Comes in, fires on, for Mr. Feelgoods, and that 50 machine is just hooked up and alive here at the point of the race.
No doubt making the most of it at the 48 car. Tyler Hunter, who we saw lead for a little bit on that restart, slide back to about 6th place. But again, that's still a far cry from what we saw earlier, where he backed into the fence. And again, luckily for him, didn't bend the wheel, didn't do too much damage, didn't break a toe link, nothing like that. That car's still running pretty good. He's fallen off a little bit, but he's still hanging in there, so that's got to be an upside for him.
I'll tell you,
Could have been worse.
if you're Tyler in that 48 machine, you know, leading a handful of laps is an absolute win after the attrition you've had to go through this race. You know, didn't unload with the most speed out of these guys. Gets caught up into a wreck in the mid-pack, and caution comes out at the right time. It's able to come in, fire a little bit of strategy into the mix. Lucky enough to keep all 4 corners on the car with that impact too, and be able to get there and lead a handful of laps. It's a good feeling. Kind of makes everything you've been through just a little bit easier to tolerate. Right now, Schaffner up here at the point. Some laps logged here at the lead. Gulata still trying to hunt, though, trying to get back to the back bumper of the 50 machines. Running a pretty good line. Paul Hill's trying everything he can to try and find a way past Levine right now. Right on board with Schaffner here. See what he's fighting in that machine. Nice and steady into 3 and 4. Not a whole lot of movement on the wheel. That's what you kind of like to, you like to see it. So he's got a good handling Paradigm Chevy this evening.
That's how you know you got a really good handling car, when you don't have to fight the wheel too much. It's nice, smooth inputs. The car does exactly what he's wanting it to do, and he's got the best view in the house. There's nothing in front of him.
What I really like too is how minimal his steering input is. Car looks like it's basically driving itself. It looks like he's on a Sunday cruise right now, which that right there is good for the tires and the longevity of the face in that 50 machine.
Battle for third, Hill on Levine.
Yeah. Bill's going to get it pretty easy here through 1 and 2. Going to take the spot away from Justin Levine. Levine try not to fall into the clutches of Johan Seminario, because those two are on the same tire strategy right now.
Brief second, Seminario had an open door, but Levine closed it out of 2. Quite had enough speed to build that momentum, keep it to the inside, just to tuck back in line.
And what Levine's trying to do right now is a little bit of aero play. He knows exactly how to manipulate that car in front of him. And he saw it kind of work out there. He got up to the back left quarter panel, packed air to it, and he saw how the 26 kind of shot up the hill just a little bit. He's going to do it again here. It's something he's notorious for doing here in these mile and a half races. If he can't get you out of the way, he'll find a way to get you out there without touching.
Almost got pretty close to it, 3 and 4. It looked like he had a bit of a checkup.
Oh, he also doesn't mind too much about moving somebody out of the way the old-fashioned way. Like,
I think he thought about it. He's like, maybe it's a little too early for that.
Justin's got a very strong screw 'em all mentality, and it works out for him, because everybody else in the field has the same one. As we watch Joseph Kazi diving down to the inside of the 48 machine, Tyler Hunter.
He's continuing to fall back now. He's under the clutches of Benefield, the 83 car. Blue and silver paint scheme looks pretty clean on that car. He's going to also complete that pass. That's going to move Benefield into the top 10. Car we haven't really heard from much tonight. It's 83.
Yeah, Benefield's kind of, had good runs, but just been really quiet this season.
Battle for the lead out of 4. They're side by side. Schaffner and Gulata dead even at the line.
I'm impressed. Gulata fighting back with better long-run longevity over the 50 machine. On older stuff, here comes Gulata diving down to the inside to 1 and 2. Side by side, dead heat out of 2. Gulata gets a little bit loose on the bottom. Not going to help him too much here. It's going to open the door for that 50 machine to get a little bit of clearance coming into 3, but not enough to be able to make anything play with it as Gulata dives it deep back into 3 and 4. Dead heat out of turn 4. Justin Levine sitting there waiting in the wings to pick up the pieces if these two mess it up. Here comes Gulata now, diving right there up against the white line, and it looks like Schaffner misses the corner a little bit, gets the bump, gets really loose,
wiggles.
huge wiggle out of turn 2. And here comes Levine now, going to fight for the second place position.
Here comes the whole train, leaving him out. Hill's going to get by, Seminario also.
That's all it takes.
Fun while it lasted for Schaffner.
One
leading
bobble.
just about a lap ago, and now he's gonna fall out of the top 5 as the 33 of Chris Vincent's on the comeback trail. Peter Irons in the 1 also gonna get by. But we were talking about just how good it looked like his car was driving. I mean, I want to talk about Galata. His car being as pinched down through 1 and 2 as it is, and it's so easy to wash up through there. He was able to hold his line super steady without having any of the wiggle room to do it. So if anyone's got a good driving car right now, it's the guy that's leading now, Joseph Galata, 98.
Well, I'll tell you what. There's a reason why I told you to pick that machine, because Gulata, man, that's somebody. That's a dark horse pick for sure. Doesn't always have the best luck when we get into the late stages of these things, but man, if he's got the car and he's got the got the practice in that week, he is somebody that is really difficult to beat, and somebody that I think is on the cusp of stacking a bunch of wins here in iRacing back to back. Look a little bit further back. Benefield fighting door to door with the leader from a handful of laps ago, Schaffner. Benefield doing that thing that he tends to do this season, man, just creeping his way into the picture the later we get in. You spend the first half of the race thinking, oh, huge slide out of the 50 machine to Schaffner. Just about goes around in front of Joseph Cozzi.
I think now we're starting to get into that transition period with tires where the car's handling starts to go a different direction.
Oh,
We're starting to see it with a couple of guys. With the 33 was also one of them that shot up the hill out of 2 and lost a ton of speed.
We're getting
He's now down to 7.
We're getting
Benefield,
to that
though,
point.
cracking the top 5 for the first time tonight. That 83 car getting around the Iron Man. Peter Irons in that 1. Moved Benefield up into top 5.
Yeah, Benefield, man. So he's got a fast piece this evening, that Team Conti Camaro. Benefield, man, that's another one of those guys that I always have circled. Always keep an eye out on him. You know, I've raced against Benefield a lot on this service throughout the years. Just one of those guys, in open, it just felt like I bumped into every other race. And every race, he's up there in that hunt, he's up there in the picture. And it's good to see, some things don't change much throughout the years. As Benefield is working top 5 position here this evening for the OB Builders Cup Series. Looking pretty good at it, too. I like the line, he's really been good about committing that thing around the bottom, lap after lap. Not, going up there and burning those tires off. A lot of people go up to that outside line. It's like fool's gold, man. You make up so many spots, so much track position so quick. But it comes back and it bites you quick. And just as quick as you gain everything, you lose it. Because these tires just hate it when you go up there to that outside line. Pretty much every track we go to. Nice and tidy there.
It gives you a false sense of confidence every single time. Like, I think of Bristol. You turn into the Flash anytime you run the top there, but after like 10 laps, your tires off and it's dropping the anchor.
Done. Yeah, you're done. And it looks like he's doing just a really good job of getting it down there on the paint itself, using a little bit of extra grip that the paint has over the asphalt. Right there, that's probably the secret to the sauce. You get the left sides to not have to do as much work, and it makes the whole car feel just a little bit better.
Every single inch works. I mean, you think about Charlotte, where you got like,
oh man,
Charlotte, you got a plenty of paint on that inside apron. Texas, not as much. But
Charlotte,
if they're able to get those left side tires on that small little white line, they're able to make it stick. Then who are we to stop them?
Yeah, Charlotte and Richmond are 2 tracks where I love doing it in Richmond. Like, a lot of people struggle to do it. Man, I love getting those left sides hooked up there at Richmond, especially through 3 and 4. It's therapeutic almost. You see race leader Gulata scrape up against the fence a little bit out of turn 2. Still holding pretty strong, though, against Justin Levine and the rest of these guys up here at the front.
Yeah, right now Levine's got his own problems to deal with. He was under the clutches of Paul Hill. This 26 car is starting to hound him. Second spot now up for grabs between those two.
We're looking at the stint length right now. Justin Levine on some of the oldest tires in the field, as well as Johan Seminario, Vincent, and Pasalacqua. Guys up here in your top 10 with 50 laps on this set of Goodyear Eagles. Counting caution laps. We had a handful of cautions, but you know, it's every lap counts on tires on this service, and Justin doing a good job fighting in and hanging in there because it's really easy to fall into a hole when you're on older stuff compared to the rest of the field. Same thing for Johan. But it's definitely opening a window up here for Joseph Galata to be in the catbird seat on this thing. Because if we stay green and he's on them fresher tires, he can just, pull himself further and further away. He has to work a little bit less to get the advantage. And come down pit road and take 4 fresh tires to finish this thing off. And, you're on an island all your own coming in. Getting ready to enter that pit window, so it's going to be interesting to see who the first handful of takers are going to be here tonight. No, well, there we go. There's our first one. Darren Mullins coming down pit road. First one to pit on the first stint. First one to pit on the second.
Going for the early bird special. But it's going to be interesting, though, because, again, that last caution, we had a split strategy. We had some cars stay out. We had even most of the field that pitted. Not everyone took tires, so it's going to be interesting to see how long some of these guys are willing to drag these stints out. How many of them are going to hit the first chance they get. We got a side-by-side battle right here. 25 and 22.
Yeah, you got the 22 right behind the 48 machine, and you know that if you're Tyler Hunter, you're kind of sweating a little bit right now. You see that car behind you in your mirror. These are the same guys, that were in that mishap earlier, so they've all three found themselves again. Hopefully everything works out a little bit better this go-around. You see car trying to work the outside line on the 22 machine here. Randy Belk in the 22 on the bottom lane there.
One car we might see. One car I'm keeping an eye on right now is Seminario. His car's looking like it's starting to fall off right now. He just got passed by Irons in 1. Now he's in danger by Pasalacqua into 6. Gonna set him up here into turn 1, make that pass work and stick. Not entirely clear yet. He's gonna try to keep that nose on the outside, but doesn't have enough.
Oh, big slide out of 2.
Yep. Like I said, that's Seminario car. That's the guy I'm keeping an eye on right now because he is starting to slip back. Here comes Kazi now.
He's swatting flies
if
there.
If you look at his mirror right there, that bright yellow number 88 is peeking to the outside. He's got a momentum surge out of 4.
I think what's going on here.
I
think Kazi is using the Intimidator button right now. Yep, there it is. See him get right back tucked in behind him, and he gets a big slide again. Shades of NASCAR 06 here at Texas Motor Speedway. But not going to work. Kazi has to step out of it to avoid running over his teammate. And here comes the 33 machine of Vincent around the top line.
Hey, I thought he intimidated himself. The 33 got a huge run on him while that was going on. It's Chris Vincent, that 33.
Yeah, that's the double Dale right there. That's the true Intimidator. You see Vincent lining up now behind the 11 machine. Gets tight in the dirty air, though. Slides up and walks up about 3 lanes. That's going to make it difficult. Here comes Kazi fighting back on the low line.
But Vincent still got that run to the outside to get side by side with Seminario. Kazi's going to go with him on that outside.
How Vincent was able to make momentum work.
There it is.
Through 1 and 2 there is impressive. And Johan Seminario diving it down pit road.
I had a feeling he was going to be one of the first ones to pit given his pace, and there it is.
See Johan Seminario bringing the Team Conti machine down pit road for 4 tires and Sunoco gas. Up here at the point, Joseph Gulata leading with extra fuel, with extra fuel in the tank and extra tires underneath him. So he's really in a good position here to make some strategy moves. Bean riding it out in second place, 0.5 of a second back. And behind him, Paul Hill and Adam Benefiel. And Paul Hill, really good run this evening up here in the podium spot. Good, quiet evening out of the 26 machine. And a strong performance to go with it. Here comes Kazi now, still diving down to the inside of the 33 machine of Chris Vincent. Vincent going to concede the spot this time as Kazi sends it in for a slide job. Kazi now taking over the 7th position here on lap 118. calm evening here. Makes our job easier.
Makes their
And
job
awesome.
easier. If you're a driver, you want an uneventful race. You don't have, you don't have to sweat too much.
Especially for the first night of the new season, new series.
Okay.
As you see, Kobe Jackson making moves now, getting
Getting around
himself past.
Silver Bullet.
Yeah, getting past John Bender there. I'll tell you what, I was expecting a little bit more out of Bender tonight. You know, watched him earlier this season in ICA, and a master of starting dead last because he doesn't ever want to qualify, and working himself up into that top 5 by the end of the night. So maybe Dex is just not playing into the hand of that 23 machine. Be interesting to see what he does next week. But Bender, you know, also a really scrappy driver here in the OB Builders Cup. You know, that is a good point. Our producer says is because the mountains on the 40 machine are not cold. So bring them back blue next week, and we'll see how it goes. Nobody wants lukewarm Coors Light. Colby Jackson, a little bit of a late race surge here, trying to take off a couple more spots as he works himself to the back of Belk here through 3 and 4, diving down to the inside of the 22 machine at the start-finish line. And he's going to have it coming into turn 1. Another car on pit road, the 9 machine. Crosby. Chris Crosby, I believe father of our race sponsor, actually. Crosby diving down pit road here, getting 4 fresh tires and some Sunoco race fuel to finish this thing off. 122 laps on the board. Well within that fuel window. But Joseph Gulada's really being kept honest right now by Justin Levine. Levine on older tires, creeping himself back up to the rear bumper, that 98 machine, ever so slowly. Oh, big slide out of Paul Hill coming out of turn 4, further in the pack, in the 4th position now.
It was right as the 33 of Chris Vincent signaled to come down pit road, so very close call for the 33 if that was anything more than a slide.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm talking about Paul Hill at the 26 machine. Just about lost it coming out turn 4, coming to the line the last lap. Had a little bit of contact between him and Adam Benefiel as well. Paul Hill fighting with a very evil-looking race car right now as Pasalacqua tries to work to his outside and take position from him. There we are. Oh, Gulada, huge slide here. Here comes Justin Levine. And oh, that looked like a car about to get hooked into the wall there. Sorry about that. These guys working themselves past lap traffic. 21 machine. Trying to keep slow down there around the bottom. Justin Levine diving in pit road, though, trying to take the undercut on Joseph Gulada, and it's going to work here. Brings the Mac Tools Camry down into pit road for his last stop of the night. Gulada opting to potentially stretch the tank as far as he possibly can here. Be a good call if we get a caution at the right time. But no, he's bringing it in. Would have gone for the contrarian strategy myself. How about you, Curtis?
I don't know. I was never good at strategizing.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I did.
I never won anything.
Never mind. I forgot. I did listen to you yell about that for 6 months straight this year.
Yeah.
Joseph Causey. Brandon Pasalacqua, now your race leaders. We follow Joseph Causey around the track. Causey and Pasalacqua opting to pit at the same time here. Causey doing what he does best every week, sending that thing as far as he possibly can down pit road with a huge lockup. And that's going to give the race to Peter Irons for the moment as Randy Belk takes up 2nd place, followed by Brian Johnston in 4th. Or sorry, John Bender in 3rd now. Randy Belk signaling that he's coming down pit road this time in the 22 machine. So, looking for a good clean entry. Everybody listening, right? Yeah, everybody's listening. He's going to bring Hunter down with him as well.
And about earlier, we documented the 11 of Seminario went for the ultimate undercut, hitting pretty much splitting the stint in half with the pace that he was kind of losing there. Got the undercut on Galata and Levine, and right now he is currently ahead of those guys, and he is back on the lead lap. He was able to unlap himself during this
Yeah, he's gonna-
sequence, and Levine and Galata are on track to doing that as Irons is on pit road now.
He's going to give himself a nice advantage here, but that advantage is going to, burn up pretty quick with the tires. I mean, it's not that big of a gap between him and Justin Levine. I mean, I'd say like 5 seconds is a walk in the park, but I mean, on older tires and the machine behind you, it's going to be ticking away lap after lap, a tenth or two at a time until they're right there back to you. And once you reach that fall off point on the tires, which we saw Johan hit earlier, and it was so difficult for him because that car was just dead sideways every second of every lap. It's
Tell
going
you
to
one I
be
got to keep an eye on, though. That 83 is, well, we got this battle that's going to be taking place between Levine and Galata. Keep an eye on Adam Benefield. That 83 car pitted the exact same time as Galata and nailed his pit entry, gained so much time on that pit stop. He's able to close that gap on that 98, and we saw just how good of a long run car he has. He's been
Here
at
we
work
go.
with that car, so if he's made that car any better, he's one to keep an eye on as we got a side-by-side battle. Return one.
Power for fourth.
Galata
Galata
inside.
down to the inside of Levine. Tucked nice and tight up against that inside, up against that line on the bottom of the track. Side by side down the back straightaway now. Joseph
Really good at
Galata
that easy.
running tight with Justin Levine here through 3 and 4. Levine not going to give it up easy though. Dead heat at the line. I think Galata had it by a hair maybe at the line that time. Oh, Galata just about loses it. Clips the apron, slides up across the nose of Justin Levine. Levine gives him the breathing room, though, to keep it straight and fight for another day. But Galata going to take the position for the time being, but Levine is going to be hard-pressed against the rear bumper.
I think that was just Galata putting a stamp on it, as he liked to say. Making sure it gets shipped out, as he was making sure that he was clear of Levine. Now he's
He
got that
almost-
spot pretty comfortably right now, and he does have that tire advantage over Levine because he did it later than him.
I'll tell you one thing, he got lucky because he almost shipped them both to the garage on that one. You look at Johan
Seminario.
Seminario, third place. John Bender getting laps led here with Brian Johnson in second. These two going to go try and keep it out here as long as they possibly can. Hope for some kind of an upset here with a caution. But it doesn't look like we have a caution in the books right now as everybody's single file and running their own races. Here comes
Brian
Bender
Johnson.
diving it down pit road.
Isn't Brian Johnson the guy from AC?
Yeah, it gets me every time too. Man of many lives out there in the four machine tonight. You watch Johan Seminario officially take second place from John Bender while Bender's on pit road. 9.5 second gap between him and Brian Johnson. Now he's got a little bit of running to do to catch the leader, but the leader's going to come down pit road here soon enough as he comes to the end of that fuel window. Now the thing that Johan's got to focus on is just that gap, maintaining that gap between him and Goulart and Levine. And Benefield really coming on strong here to the closing laps as he closes himself to the back bumper of Justin Levine in the 3.
We're getting pretty close to the evening now. We had a long race. We're getting some shade here. The track's cooled down about 20 degrees from what we started with. So if you have a car that's really set up for a cooler track, now is the time for it to shine. And again, I mentioned Benefield earlier. His car's really come to life in these closing laps.
Yeah, these guys that you saw, with the hospital hop earlier in this race when the track was hot, be the ones to keep your eye on here as we close in on this thing.
I want to say it was about like 115 around qualifying. Right now it's down to 93.
Oh yeah,
Definitely
it's
going down quite a bit.
it's definitely chilling out. One car that's gotten progressively better as the day's gone on, though, is that 98 machine of Goulart. But the one that has made the most improvement all night, I have to tip the hat to the 83 of Benefield. Levine been pretty static, consistently up at the front of this thing. These other two, man, they've really either hit something with the setup or that setup was good for the night. So run on board with Beneful here through 1 and 2, trailing behind Justin Levine and Joseph Gulata. He's just doing a really good job of keeping that thing pinned down the bottom all the way throughout the corner. That being down there is what saves tires the best. Not let
Brian Johnson's
not
finally
having to
down
slide
pit
around
road.
too much.
Under the lead.
Johnson gives up the lead, handing it to Johan Seminario. Now a 4.2 second gap between race leader Johan Seminario and Gulata. Seminario's starting to fend with some of these guys that pit a little bit later, trying to get their lap back as John Bender dives down to the bottom at a 3 and 4 to get his position back. That dirty air is not going to help Johan too much.
Oh, and he's already at a deficit between him and Gulata. You have, as a leader, you have that clean air advantage, but when you're racing around lap cars who pitted much later than you that are trying to get around you, that kind of takes that advantage away. And keeping an eye on that interval, it's about a second. It's about a second per lap that Gulata's gaining on him.
Oh, that advantage is melting pretty quick right now. Like an ice cube on a summer day, Gulata is falling, Seminario is falling closer and closer into the clutches of Gulata and Levine. And once they get to him, man, it's just, you can try to defend it, but there's not really much you can do with that much of a disadvantage on tires. And once he hits that dirty air from those guys, once they get by him too, it's just going to be a difficult closing handful of laps for Johan Seminario in the 11. Another car that's really improved tonight, too, though. I got to give a shout-out to Chris Vincent. At 33, man, he's gotten better every run. Just slightly better. Clawing, and finally got himself up here into the top 5. Good run so far. He's got the 26 machine way back there behind, or a couple seconds back there behind him, so no real pressure at the moment. Car behind him right now, as you see, is the 4 Brian Johnson, one of the late pitters earlier. Trying to get by and get his laps back. There's Paul Hill, another stout hot rod, and Vasilako kind of falling to the wayside after that last caution, sitting in the 7th place spot, way behind everybody else.
And even that's in jeopardy because here comes Peter Irons in the 1 car. Make an easy pass for that position. I want to talk about Chris Vincent, this 33 car. They've been at work. The crew with that car's been at work making that car run better in the long runs. It seemed like early on it fired off really good, but then once we got into long runs, it started to drop anchor and fade back quite a bit. And that's been kind of the thing that he's been working on the most.
We got smoke on the back straightaway. No caution, though, as of now. 21 machine slowing up against the wall. Oh, and they wrecked. The 21 is around. He's slammed into the side of the 26 of Paul Hill. I think he was trying to pit to fix damage. And hard into the wall goes the 21.
What in the world went wrong here?
Yeah, the door number says 21, but I gotta go through and figure out.
It's the 57 of Bill Petrov.
Yeah, there we go. I don't know what happened there. And Gulata also got wind it back because Gulata just got smoked as well in the initial contact that caused the 21 to be so slow. I want to watch it out of turn 2. Just Gulata wrecked, back a little more if we can. But the immersion break here, guys. We're gonna do a quick hard rewind. I don't really know what he was trying to do here. So you see Gulata right here. All right, here we go. obviously on 4 fresher tires, trying to unlap himself. Sends it deep into the corner. Doesn't stick. Galata tries to get by, a little bit of door contact between the two of them. Then a whole bunch of chaos unfolding after that. Galata getting back into the door of him here, shutting him up the track. 21 in the fence. Then tries to pit from 12 lanes up the track and causes a huge mess.
It's bizarre because they were side by side for well over a lap. So it definitely seemed like he had the tires, but just didn't know what to really do with them. And when you're racing against the leaders like that, at this late in the race, you gotta cut them a little bit of slack because it's late in the going. Their patience for you it's empty at that point.
I mean, you also also a situation like this too. You don't want
I
to be
am
the lap
speaking
car
to my
that
mic.
goes out there and you know these guys have all worked so hard on a strategy with the hands they were dealt, and everybody made the bed. They're ready to lie in it. Now we got a big caution for something that shouldn't have been a caution in the first place. And now everybody's strategy's out the window, and the guys that worked so hard to maximize on that long run are honestly at odds right now because everything's reset. The way lights out on the iRacing pace truck here.
Seminario thinking he's got about new life given to him. 'Cause it seemed like he was a dead man walking with those tires. Because Bellotta and Benefiel and Levine were all running him down pretty much a second a lap.
Yeah, this is a huge bad break for Gulata too. I think he's still on pit road right now. He got tore up pretty bad on that deal. Well, he's on track, but way further in the back of the pack right now because he had to come down pit road and repair damage.
I can imagine he's probably been pretty vocal these last 5 minutes. I don't have the chat up from the session.
He's been vocal, but he hasn't been toxic. He's just been saying, I'm not surprised, kind of deal. Nothing too bad. But all that behind us now as we work ourselves through 3 and 4 for hopefully the final restart of the evening. Race in the hands of Johan Seminario and Justin Levine. One sim teammates rolling off the grid here. Slowly creep themselves into the Geico restart zone. Legs in the hand and to the pedal. Johan Seminario with a good launch out here. Good shove from Adam Benefiel. Going to get him the lead from Justin Levine coming into turn 1. And Benefiel sending it through 1 and 2. Going to take the second spot away from Justin Levine. Now trying to focus his eyes on your race leader, Johan Seminario. Does Adam Benefiel have enough in the tank to get the job done this evening?
It's the first time we've seen him this close to the front of the pack. Let's see what he has to offer. We got quite a bit of shaking up throughout the field. We got,
one car
as you deemed earlier, the Tic Tac terrorist, Colby Jackson, the 37 car up into the top 5.
Yep, Colby Jackson making it stick down here on the bottom lane. Been kind of mired in the mid-pack all evening. Gets an opportunity up here in the top 5 to make something happen. And really coming alive into the late stages of this thing. Brandon Pastelacqua also with a second chance at life here as you see him sitting in the 4th position right now. Just behind Justin Levine, who's cycled back to 3rd. Johan Seminario still in control, but Adam Benefiel on the hunt. And I'll tell you what, Adam Benefiel, man, that guy's like a great white. He smells blood in the water. He's going for it. And here he is right now. Perfect opportunity as he works himself to the back bumper of Johan Seminario down the back straightaway into turn 3. With just 25 laps to go when we reach the stripe here. At turn 4, lap 150 is going to fall into the hands of Johan Seminario.
Bellotta's on the charge. There he is on the outside.
That's going to be somebody to keep an eye on too, man. Because he's driving pissed right now.
He's on a mission.
A lot of working the outside line. Going to get past Brandon Pasalacqua coming into 3. What's he going to do with Justin Levine here? Knows the time's running out. Here comes Colby Jackson with a deep dive, though. Going to get him past Pasalacqua here. And now it's going to put him on the top side. Almost able to get to the quarter panel. Gulata not able to make it stick, though. Not enough momentum. And Pasalacqua's going to send it deep back down to 1. They're going to be fighting a little bit longer. And Colby Jackson falling back a little bit more into the clutches of the cars behind him as Tyler Hunter gets to the back bumper of him. And here we go, pass for third place, lining up. Gulata dives deep down into turn 3 underneath Justin Levine. He's going to take the spot.
Oh, they're wrecking out of 4.
March on to the back of the 83 machine of Adam Benefield, and hard into the fence is Tyler Hunter.
He was outside 3 wide and just got fishtailed by whoever's in the middle.
It was Vincent. Here we go. Gulata now breathing down the neck of Adam Benefield into turn 3. Sending up the top of the track, trying to build the momentum, try to get a higher arc into 3 to get the run coming out of 4. As we look at the replay, what happened a few seconds ago. Schaffner down there on the bottom. Gets up, slightly hip checks the 33. A little bit of net cut, heavy net cut between the two of them, actually. And unfortunately for Hunter, he gets shot out of it. Johan Seminario opening up the gap a little bit, though. Up to a 10th and a half here over second place Adam Benefield as we cross the stripe, getting ready to take 21 laps to go. 21 laps to go here. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we will be back to resume the racing action to the finish here of the OB Builders Cup Series. And welcome back to the OB Builders Cup Series live on Grid Vision, live from Texas. We've crept into that sub 20 lap to go bracket here. Johan Seminario in the lead with Adam Benefield following second, with Joseph Gulata holding on a strong third. Justin Levine creeping back there in fourth with Brandon Pasalacqua in fifth. And it's shaping up here to be a shootout as we work ourselves into the final stages of tonight's race. Everybody's single file right now. A little bit of a tire save maneuver going for the rest of these guys through the field. See Randy Belk trying to make position on the 4 machine. Brian Johnson. Belk also probably the most aggressive at running that outside line tonight, and it's worked out for him in most cases. Send that thing up to the third lane. I didn't even know we had a third lane here, but the 22 machine has absolutely found it. And oh, and he found the wall in the process. And that is hard contact for the 22. Focusing our eyes back to the front, Johan Seminario with Adam Benefield mounting a second charge here, trying to get to the back bumper of the 11 machine. Working into 3, Benefield going to taper up a little bit, try to build a little bit more of an arc. Not able to make it stick for much momentum here, though, this go round, but Johan getting a little bit tight through 3 and 4. Now, I gotta be wondering though, man, Curtis, we watched it earlier tonight. That 11 machine was really fighting with some demons at the end of the run, and I think they're just gonna get to the point where that starts.
And
Oh,
that's what
yep.
the cars behind him are hoping too. Ooh, look
And
at that
I
block
think-
in the back of shot. Hello.
I don't know if you saw it there coming out too with all the excitement going on a little bit further back, but I think that slide just started because I saw Johan get really loose coming out of turn 2 there right in front of Benefield. See what happens again here as he lines it up for the deep dive into 3. He's chasing up the track a little bit higher than the rest
He's
of
got
these
a
guys
nose out.
are.
Golata for second. He's got a nose out on Benefield.
Here comes Gulata now, teeing it up on the top of the track.
Ooh, but he
Benefield
missed
gets
the
tight.
bottom.
Yeah, Benefield gets tight running the bottom, and that's going to give the position to Gulata. Is Gulata going to have anything for Seminario here? 13 laps to go.
Possibly give one up to Justin Levine too. And he does. One big mistake is enough to cost you 2 spots. That's gonna be really difficult for him to make those back up in the closing laps.
Gulata is closing it quick here too. You see, he's knocked him down from 2.5 tenths down to a 1/10.5 into 3. And Seminario running up top because he knows that thing is dead loose, trying anything he can to maintain the momentum, but they are here now and they're breathing down his neck. And here comes Gulata. Fakes to the bottom, goes to the top here through 1 and 2.
That's
Going
a
for the
risky
arc.
move to go from
he's
bottom
trying
and fake to the top out of 2 like that.
He's trying to
He
switch
was able
back
to-
here, and he's going to do it.
He's gonna make it work.
Down the back straightaway to the quarter panel into 3. Gulata versus Seminario, and don't count out Justin Levine. Side by side through 4. Gulata with the advantage and the momentum this time, but here comes the 11 fighting back up top with a little bit of help from his friend. Just Levine pushing Seminario across the start-finish line. Here comes the wiggle, a little bit of a hip check coming through 2, and
Levine's
now
got
we
a
are
huge
3 wide
run.
for the lead. Levine sending it down to the bottom on the 98 machine of Gulata with Seminario on the outside. Which one's going to prevail through 3 and 4? Looks like it's going to be Justin Levine and Benefield. Huge wiggle. Back there in the 4th spot. To the stripe here. 10 laps to go. Justin Levine in the lead. 3 wide, though. Gulata fighting back hard on the outside lane. But here comes Seminario trying to go for a bit of a pinch. I'll tell you what. Oh, contact out of turn 2. Gulata, Levine up into Gulata, and Gulata back into Levine. Somehow these 3 keep it under them, though.
And
Here we
just
go, more
about, we're
contact.
gonna lose. Seminario got up in the marbles. He's gonna lose traction on that car. Pasalacqua in the 6th, though. Gonna keep an
more
eye
door
on him. He's
contact.
making a charge here. Got the
Here
entire
comes-
top 6 in shot.
Here comes Seminario with a huge push to the back of his teammate, Justin Levine, through 1 and 2. And Seminario is about to lose it, man. That thing, he needs to throw in the towel pretty quick, or else that's going to be another green-white checkered scenario.
He's gonna
But
find
here
himself
comes-
3 wide again. Here comes Pasalacqua for 3rd place. They're gonna be 3 wide for that spot.
But still for the lead, Gulata versus Levine. Levine going to take it here. 8 laps to go from Texas Motor Speedway. Justin Levine now at the point, which Joseph Gulata locked in, and I would not be surprised if that 98 machine had a little bit more in the tank to try and make another stab here at it.
I mean, I don't know. Considering where he restarted, he drove that car probably harder than anybody else in this final restart. So we were hoping, for entertainment's sake, that he still has something left in the tank. But I'm worried he might have used all his stuff up just to get back up there. But
You're a
we'll
lot
see.
of fun at parties, aren't you, brother?
I'm just being realistic, all right? That's why I said we're hoping that he still has something left. He might still have something left. I mean, that car's been quick all night. He might have something that we haven't seen yet.
Working ourselves into turn 3. Justin Levine in control of the field with Joseph Gulata in 2nd, and Benefield tapering back there in the 3rd place spot. 6 laps to go now. And who's going to bring it home tonight for the OB Builders Cup? Look a little further back in the pack. Tell you what, man, a lot of good runs, a lot of good recoveries tonight. Benefield closing himself into a podium spot here. First half of this race, you know, looked like he was out to lunch. Did a great job finding the pace that he needed in that Team Conti machine tonight. And looking really strong here, making good moves. Colby Jackson, another one. Didn't even think about him the first 3 quarters of this thing. The Tic Tac terrorist has found himself in the 5th spot.
Oh, the
Greg
big
Carr.
slide out of Galata.
Oh, and a big slide out of Benefield, but Benefield is going to go down to the bottom here into 3. And he's going to take that one with ease from Gulata, but does Gulata try to fight back? As we see Johan Seminario now falling into the clutches of Colby Jackson here. Side by side through 1 and 2. Seminario working the top line, trying to make something happen against the hard-charging 37 machine of Colby Jackson. Pasalacqua trying to work with Seminario down the back straightaway here, staying up on the outside line, trying to stall the 37 machine of momentum. But here comes a slide job from Colby Jackson. He's going to take the spot as we come out of turn number 4. 3 laps remaining here at Texas. And Justin Levine, he's got it now, man. He's just got to keep this thing on autopilot. Hope nobody else makes any mistakes. Don't make any mistakes yourself. You got 7/10 of a second advantage here, as Benefield has got the 2nd spot over Joseph Gulata. And here comes Pasalacqua trying to make moves on Johan Seminario here. And he's got it. Johan just trying to hang on here. With 2 laps to go. Justin Levine. He's a lot of laps this evening. He's been so fast this week at Texas. Said earlier in the week, after winning, I believe the Monday night or the Tuesday night, said, I have no idea why we're fast this week. I'm normally terrible at Texas, but something about this car, this setup, this season has just felt right. And here he comes to take the white flag here for the OB Builders Cup, and it definitely looks like something does feel right as he leads him down into turn number 1 for the final time. In a race that he's more or less dominated at certain points. Holding a steady wheel here, trying to gear down the back straightaway for the last time. A 2nd advantage over Adam Benefield in 2nd place. He's had a fight for it this evening. A lot of fast cars, a lot of comers and goers, but out at turn number 4 to lick the stamp and send it here for the final time from Texas. It's going to be Justin Levine win the OB Builders Cup live from Texas. 2nd place going to Adam Benefield. Joseph Gulata going to roll across the line in 3rd, with Colby Jackson in 4th, and Brandon Pasalacqua going to be your top 5 here from Texas. Man, what a night, Curtis.
Indeed. What a night for Levine.
And I'll tell you what, man, he has struggled at this place in the past. If you look at the stat sheet, he's really figured it out here recently. One heck of a drive for a lot of these guys, man. I got to give a huge shout out to Gulata, because when he got in that incident there with a handful of laps to go, I thought his night was done. And man, that 98, he proves me wrong more times than not. See Levine burning it down a little bit better than what we've seen out of him here in the weeks past. I got to give him, give him about 3.5 tonight. Much better car control, but still not enough smoke this week. Either way, we're going to get the unofficial race results here. 1st place, Justin Levine, followed by 2nd, Adam Benefield. 3rd, going to Joseph Gulata with Colby Jackson in 4th. 5th place, Brandon Pasalacqua with 6th, going to Johan Seminario. Greg Carr with one heck of a steal here and a sneak into the top 10, going to get 7th place tonight, followed by Josh Schaffner in 8th. Chris Benson bringing it home 9th, and Paul Hill going to bring it home 10th. To you, Curtis.
And we pick things off with ACDC's Brian Johnson coming home in 11th place, John Bender in 12th, Randy Belk in the 22, 13th, 14th goes to Chris Crosby in the 9, Joseph Causey slides back to 15th, last car on the lead lap, then Josh Hyatt in the 2, 16th, 3 laps down, Darren Mullins in the 64, Tyler Hunter with issues, 22 laps down in 18th, issues for Peter Irons, not sure what happened to him, but he finishes 31 laps behind in 19th, and rounding out the top 20 is Bill Petrov in the Wood Brothers car, scored us to 57.
I gotta say, as we wait for these guys to kind of cycle themselves up to be ready to be interviewed here, Curtis, what'd you feel about the racing product these guys put down this evening?
It was definitely pretty good. A lot of fun to watch. Definitely looked like it was going to be fun behind the wheel if I was in there, but definitely looked like one of those rare times where Texas actually looks like a good racetrack. So, gotta give the tip of the cap to these drivers for putting on a pretty good show for this track.
Yeah, it has. It was definitely a great performance here tonight and a great race to watch. Yeah, I gotta scroll through here and figure out where to find everybody at. I'm looking for a second place finisher or a third place finisher right now, but I'm not seeing them. So I do believe with that we will scoot on to second if we can find them. And oh, yep, there we go. Curtis, you're gonna be sitting with Adam Benefiel.
As we drag in our second place finisher, Adam Benefiel. Adam, you got a copy? All right, man. Second place finish. Looked like a bit of a quiet start. You started deep in the pack, around 16th. Didn't really make much noise throughout the first half of the race, but you know, once we got close to those green flag runs late in the going, you really started to come to life. And good green flag pit stop got you with 98. Just walk me through your race. Uh-oh.
Bear with us here as we
Technical
fix
difficulties
a
from the truck.
as we fix a quick little technical bug here. I'm gonna have like a elevator music or something right now. Oh, okay.
Test. Cool. So I guess we start over.
So Adam, how you doing?
I'm doing good, doing good. No, like I said, it was first race for the league. I didn't realize that this was only the second race of their season, so I thought they were further along. So I started toward the back, trying to tiptoe and not mess up anybody's season or whatnot. And then I actually have y'all's broadcast pulled up. I really do enjoy listening to y'all. Y'all are legit one of my favorite broadcasts to listen to because y'all just don't give a damn and you tell it like it is. But I heard y'all say something about it was the second race, and then I was like, well, heck, let's start trying to dig a little bit, and we did. But I'm like I said before, the first time, they don't pay anything to be leading at lap 50. So kind of did what I always do, and just take my time and manage the car, the tires, and try to keep up with the racetrack with it cooling off. So we eventually made it up there. We had a really good car. Justin was really, really good. Joe was really good. So I kind of was watching times, and I had an idea who it was going to come down to. Colby was really good as well. But yeah, there, the last pit stop, I nailed the entry. I was proud of myself on that one. That was pretty cool. And yeah, I went too far on the last stop with adjustments, and I freed it up. And then I knew Joe was going to be coming like a bat out of hell, and I kind of I lit the tires up a little too early, and was able to fall back and cool him off and then get back up to second. But Justin, I'm gonna tell you, he played it smart. It's the first time I was ever racing in the same channel as Justin, so that was cool. I'm glad he won it. Really cool dude. So yeah.
Lots of respect there from the second place finisher. Pretty good finish for you. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Y'all at Grid Vision for broadcasting. Like I said, top notch. Love y'all's stuff. Brandon for letting me into this league. It was fun. It was pretty badass to see 3 wide racing for the lead. You know, like that, and how tight it was up front, and it was good racing overall. And then everybody at Team Conti for everything that they do, and yeah, congrats again to Justin.
All right, well, you got Adam Benefield, your second place finisher. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, taking it back over here, I'm gonna be sitting down with Justin Levine, your race winner here at Texas. Justin, boss man.
What's
First
going
off, how's it going, brother? How's it going?
on? Oh man, the monkey got off my back after last night.
Yeah, I was going I wanted to talk about it at some point last night, but I realized that all 3 of us decided to pick you, and the first thing that happened was you got hit by everything but a damn bulldozer.
Yeah, that man, you give me the broadcast of bad luck.
We gave it to
Black
you
flag,
times
man.
3. You told us not to.
I
But
know.
tonight we
I know.
decided, you know what, we're done bullying you. So I guess that right there is actually the winning move. So you can thank me and give all the credit to me and Curtis as well as Darby. But
He told me to
no,
pick
man.
a lot, and we
Well,
saw it
thank you,
happen to him.
boys.
Hey, man, look, Gulata was a good pick, Curtis. Come on, sit down.
I know it's a good pick, but I was gonna pick Levine, but y'all told me not to.
That is my every time. That is my dark horse pick, 100%. But either way, Justin. So first off, talk me through tonight, man. You had a bad, fast Mac Tools hot rod. About dominated the first half of this thing. Got kind of mired back there. You know, the strategies kept changing around, and it seemed like no matter what the disadvantage was, you would still find your way up there. Just tell me about how that car was running. Aside from good, because if you tell me that, I'm just going to smack you.
Oh no, it was definitely a learning curve. I wanted to make sure that, especially with no stages, that I kept the tires on it as much as possible. It worked out perfectly in the first stage, or first half of the race. Can't say stage. I was able to get around Galata, and once I got out front, clean air really cooled the tires down. I was able to just slowly start driving away. I think Brandon started reeling me in before that first caution. And when we went back green after that caution, the track cooled down big time. So it was like a learning curve. The track just went from really hot to really, not really cool, but it was noticeable enough that you had to drive differently. And with, I think it was Paul with fresher tires being right tucked up behind me. He was taking the air off through 1 and 2. And I just kept sliding the tires off the corner there. And right towards the end, I think Galata started to catch lap cars. And that's right when my car woke up. And I was like, you know what? If he has to go high with a lap car just pinching him, which was at 21, that I think tried to wreck him, I'm going to dive in. And it worked out perfectly. Unfortunately, he got wrecked there. But thank God he didn't, I guess, top him off there, right? And right at the end, that last battle, I didn't think I was going to get it. I thought I saved too much. It wasn't working. And then out of nowhere, the car really woke up and made the right moves while they were battling and got under Joseph and Johan there. And if Johan didn't give me that push down the straightaway, I don't know if I get clear. But everything worked out perfect. I'm just smiling from ear to ear.
Yeah, so you gave us a couple of brown pants moments, if you will, tonight. First off, what were you thinking going, coming out turn 2, and next thing you know, you see that 21 machine slamming into the door of Galata, and them all of y'all just about wrecked. I mean, all 3 of y'all made contact. You, Galata, Benefield, 21. Walk me through that, because I thought that was going to be the end of the night for all of y'all, and somehow you miraculously made it through.
I thought so too. I hope someone in my stream clipped it because I was screaming oh shit and just cranking the wheel hard left. I got the 4X and I was ready to get hooked into the wall and it just never came. So honestly, it was just pure luck and I guess instincts because before going into the corner, when I saw the 21 drive under him and drive in deep, I was like, oh, he's pissed at him. They were touching a little bit before, like I thought maybe he roughed them up earlier in the race, but in game chat, Joe said that he had a couple incidents with him in officials, and maybe that's where this all came from. But once I saw him turn left to hook him, I instantly turned left and just honestly got lucky there.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy to watch up here at the booth. I can tell you that. And we
We
missed
put on a
it
good
initially.
show.
We initially missed it, but I was like thumbing back through trying to figure out what the hell happened, why the 21 car was wrecked, and I saw it and I was like, oh no. But nah, man, it looked like so. You guys were dogging the hell out of each other up there at the front, and just tell me about the level of respect between you and the guys in this series, because you guys have ran so many laps against each other in officials as well as hosted leagues. Like, just talk to me about that a little bit, because there's not many people you can go 3 wide with for as much as you guys did tonight. I mean, you, Gulata, Seminario, y'all put on one hell of a show those last couple laps.
It just shows you that here, remove us from NIS where there's even more egos. These are the top clean drivers. We can race each other inches apart, pushing, shoving, you name it, without wrecking each other. I can't tell you how many times in top split NIS, or even last night was a great example. It was a wreck fest for no reason. Everyone just pushed the issue and they knew they couldn't handle it, or they were going to come up and hit somebody or something among the lines, and they just do it openly and willingly. And being in a private league here where there's actually repercussions and penalties, you just drive completely different. But on top of it, all of us in here that just went toe-to-toe, we are we all respect each other. We all know each other's really good, and by racing each other as hard as we can, we're only pushing each other to get better, and I hope we put on a great show. I can't wait to go back and watch the broadcast.
Oh, man, congratulations to you, dude. You got the job done tonight, and put on one hell of a show doing it. I'd like to ask before you head on out of here and go back to your Discord and probably wreck somewhere at Talladega or something like that. Who do you want to shout out for this one, and who do you got to thank?
Shout out to Grid Vision, best in the business. Can't wait to go back and watch the broadcast, especially this one. Shout out to Mac Tools and Keegan Sabilo and Ryko. Can't do it without them. Ryko gives me a car that I feel I can win every single race every time I enter, and without Mac Tools and everybody being on board, can't make this happen without them. And all the viewers and the league admins for putting this on. The way we're heading, this league's going to be really fun, and I'm excited to see what the future holds.
Well, thanks for coming up here and talking with us for a couple minutes. Try not to party too hard, and I'll be seeing you soon, Justin. Take care, buddy.
Take care. Have a good night.
And also, it looks like our third place finisher, Joseph Gulata, has actually found his way into the waiting room. So I'm going to pull old Joseph Gulata up here in the booth with us and sit down and talk here for a minute. First off, I got to say, Joseph, man, I've been watching you since NIS last year, and like it's been a climb. But dude, you have found some pace since the latter half of last season. Talk me through that a little bit, because man, you've been a rocket here as of late.
Yeah, I started building my own setups. That's part of it. Always striving to be better as a driver. A lot of the guys out there, they make it difficult, and sometimes you get the short end of the stick. Sometimes you get clean races, but I'm heavily criticized, and sometimes I don't understand why, but I try to go out there and give as much respect as possible until you cross the line, and then I'm the bad guy. But yeah, ultimately it comes down to just constantly testing and building setups. I got something special coming season 3, working with a group of guys. I don't know if you've noticed, I've been seeing these races, but I'm building for Majula C Sim Shop, and season 3 we're going to be rolling out to the public, so I'll just drop that tag right now.
Well, I will definitely be excited to see how that how the extra level of competition being added into the NIS Opens that we cover on Wednesday nights is going to unfold. But I want to talk to you, man, about the contact with the 21 machine. So, you know, you were up there at the point, perfect position. Y'all were booking. Looked like you, Levine, and Benefic were going to have one hell of a battle and a hell of a tussle to finish this thing off. What exactly happened with that lap car? Because we missed the first half of whatever initiated that.
Listen, I have no idea. You know, I was kind of pacing myself, maybe a little bit of an elevated pace because we were like down towards the end. But I know Johan pitted early and he was starting to fall like a rock, and we were going to eventually catch him. I didn't even think the 21 was going to be an issue. But as I started catching him, he started, you know, driving weird, like he wanted to screw my race over. And I don't understand why. But yeah, I ended up catching him. He kept driving it in deep, holding me up, trying to pack air on my car, side draft, and all the whole nines. And I'm like, where's the respect? You know, like there was none at all. And I honestly don't think I've ever ran into the guy before. Might have seen him in a few A Opens in the maybe one A Open in the past where he did the same stuff. And his response when he was called out, not even by me, but Conklin, in that race at Vegas, was, I like to rough up the higher I rating guys. I don't get it, you know. But I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. It only hurt my car a little bit. I was able to fix it up and go out there and compete to the end. But you know, I put a clean pass on him, and then he wanted to ship it into turn one and try and clean me out, and basically succeeded at it. I think I would have had that race if that didn't happen.
In good position for it at the bare minimum. Looked like you made a. So, how many changes did you make on the thing tonight? Because like the track went through so many stages. You know, I noticed at the beginning, you know, you were kind of there, but it wasn't all there. Then as we got into the later stages of the race, it was just like you found something magic on pit road. Because that thing, you were booking there at the end.
I have magic pit stop adjustments. I know what to put in the car.
Stagger tires, match to perfection, right? Something like that.
Yeah, I had a choice between two variations of the same setup. One slightly looser and one a little bit more secure. I wasn't sure how the track was going to transition. I should have known better that it was going to cool down and probably fought a looser car at the beginning of the race and been able to not take bigger swings at the car. And I think ultimately that was the difference between dominating tonight and kind of having a battle between me and Levine, you know. And that was fun though. I mean, he put on a hell of a race. He you know, kept me in his crosshairs the entire race. You know, I would be good late middle stage of the run, and then he'd have that last 10-15 laps where his car was just killing me. I was either too tight or too loose. There was that section in the middle portion of the race where I felt like I had the car dialed, and then once we hit that last pit stop before we got to the 21, my car was lights out. I was just pacing it, and I never got to see how that was going to play out, but you know,
we're all pretty upset that we didn't see how that was going to play out either. But we did get to see something else pretty damn impressive out of you, all of y'all up there at the front. But especially you, man. You restarted 13th position, I believe, on that last restart, and drove yourself all the way up there to battling for the lead. Talk me through that, because with a slightly beat up car and having to crawl through a pack as stacked as this field is, it can't be easy. Am I right?
It's not easy, no. It helps having a good car under you, that's for sure, and hanging it on the outside and pray that it didn't eat your tires too much, which it ultimately did. You know, there at the end, I kind of was toast. You know, Colby was gonna catch me if we had like another 10 laps. I kept Adam within sight, but I had nothing for Justin once we got past that little 3 wide fiasco, which was, I hope it put on good TV. you know, if I got the clean air, I might have been able to hold off Justin for a bit, but I ultimately think he was gonna win it.
Yeah, well, good performance tonight, man. I mean, to fight back against the adversity you had to go through there, the attrition you had to go through there to get to the front. That I don't know many people that can do that. Most people I see do that at Brecken trying to get through the field. But as we head out here for the night, man, anybody you want to thank or shout out for this one?
Yeah, I'd like to thank you guys for putting on a phenomenal broadcast since you guys came onto the scene. You know, they're very enjoyable to watch. It gives me something to show people when I go to work or just in my everyday life, to show them what I do and kind of teach them and explain to them how intense this actually can be. You know, it's different for some people because it's not a real thing, but you know, the competition is definitely up there, and for you guys to be able to put on these broadcasts and showcase what we do on here, it pays dividends.
Well, Joseph,
And,
thanks.
One more.
Continue.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. And then, like I said, everybody that is behind the scenes currently with this Majula C setup shop that we're rolling them out into the NASCAR thing. I was hired by Chris Ferguson to take on the role of building setups for the truck, Xfinity car, and Cup car, shared with Vicente Salas. Me and him are both building those cars in a collaborative effort to try and go out there and compete against the biggest shops and hope to, you know, get some, you know, good competition out of it. So that'll be it.
You have definitely made a lot of noise here in the last handful of months, and I can tell you, I'm excited to see what it's going to pay out to in the on the track from up here in the booth. Thanks for coming up here and stepping in and sitting with us tonight, and congrats on the podium finish.
Thank you so much, and congratulations to Justin on tonight's win.
Absolutely. Well, we are now transitioning into winding down for the evening. The OB Builders Cup Series put on one heck of a performance tonight here, and I'm not really much of a closer on these things, so this is a bit of a stab in the dark. But we want to thank the OB Builders Cup Series for having us up here, as well as we want to thank TateCrosbyRacing.com for helping get this thing off the ground for us. Remember, if you're looking for a young talent to watch evolve into, you know, potentially one of the next big superstars of the sport, be sure to look into TateCrosbyRacing.com and follow that kid around, because some of those stats that he's got at such a young age is certainly impressive. But that's all I've got in store here for the night. Myself, Curtis White, and Austin Derbyshire appreciate you stepping in here and watching with us. And yeah, I'm train wrecking a little bit here. We'll see you next time on the grid. There we go.